School of Ecological Studies, for his welcome address. Dr. Devi, please.
Thank you, Rashmi. First of all, let me put my environment silent mode and silent mode. So I think you'll do the same also. I'll start with a small prayer. Vasudeva Swami Kansachanurvandanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande. His Holiness Vasudeva Swami, Bhakti Vasudeva Swami, Pranam. We have Prabhu Dayanti from Borneo Island, Yemen, and his son, Director Dr. Vasudeva Swami, MGI, Associate Professor Dr. Mrs. Rita Koli, ICCR Chair Professor Rajshekar, ICCR Chair for Hindi. I'm standing the audience. So, respected academics, educators, students of tertiary, secondary, colleagues from the different departments of the School of Theological Studies, Head Dr. Naik, and Head of Ecology, Mr. Padya, this is Dr. Ramjetan, and our colleagues from different departments of management, Dr. Shanji and C. So, all of you, a warm welcome to this exceptional talk that we are having today. And we have a guest of distinguished caliber. He is from America. This Shanji is going to give you greater detail about his background. As head of the School of Theological Studies, it's my pleasure to welcome all of you. And the school has always been actively engaged in the promotion of Indian philosophy, culture, religion, ethics, traditions, which is in line with the vision and mission of our institution. And to have a personality like Swamiji is, of course, not only a spiritual lesson for us, but also from an intellectual perspective. We are having an opportunity to learn a lot from on the philosophy of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And students of secondary, and those who are already studying Hinduism will know that at the HSC syllabus now, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is part of the content that is taught at the HSC level. This shows to what extent the society has an impact on the world. If it is international, it means it is a global movement, and all of us we know since Swami Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada went to America, and from there the whole movement spread across the world, and so much so that it has become one of the major organizations that uphold Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism across the world, especially focusing on the perennial teachings of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, and from a verse from which Rajshri just recited, which speaks about Karma Yoga. So I will not take much of your time because we are here to listen to our guest and who has come from such a long distance to give us his knowledge. I hope you are all going to make the most out of it. And of course, you have a few session of question and answers. If you have any queries, you can also ask. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Devi. So, dear friends, as Dr. Devi just mentioned in his welcome address, we are truly honored to have amidst us the presence of His Holiness Bhakti Vasudeva Swamiji. Swamiji is an initiating guru within the International Society for Krishna Consciousness and a member of the Spiritual Advisors Bhagavad Assembly Sabha, a partner of the governing body commission. Swamiji has dedicated over 35 years as a monk in full-time service, propagating the message of Krishna consciousness. He joined ISKCON in Lagos, Nigeria in 1984 and was initiated by His Holiness Bhakti Vasudeva Swami in the year 1986. During the early days of the movement in West Africa, under the guidance of his Guru, Swamiji led several important projects. Within only a few months of his initiation, he became a member of the management committee and later served as the president of the Lagos State chapter of ISKCON, where he played a pivotal role in overseeing the ISKCON Lagos temple's construction. In the academic realm, Swamiji holds a PhD in Applied Management and Decision Sciences from Walden University, Minneapolis, US, and an MPhil from Enugu, Nigeria. His academic contributions are outstanding, with over 35 years of publications in international academic and peer-reviewed journals. In recognition of his excellence, Swamiji was honored with the International Award of Excellence at ISKCON Sridham, Mayapur, India in the year 2003. Beyond his academic achievements, His Holiness travels extensively, imparting wisdom on the values of love, peace, unity in diversity, self-realization, social justice, positive change, conflict resolution, and as well as organizational leadership. Today, at the Mahatma Gandhi Institute School of Theological Studies, Department of Philosophy, we feel privileged to host Swamiji, who will enlighten us on the topic balancing spirituality and work. Before we invite His Holiness Swamiji to deliver his enlightening discourse, we would like to take a moment to express our deep gratitude for His presence among us today. As a mark of our respect and appreciation, we now invite our esteemed director, the MGI, Dr. Viduttamakunjaji, to present a token of appreciation to His Holiness. In the spirit of mutual respect, we also have His Holiness Swamiji, who has graciously brought a token of appreciation for our director. Madam, please.
Thank you, Swamiji. Real pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Madam. Now, with hearts open to wisdom, let us warmly welcome His Holiness Swamiji as he will share his insights on balancing spirituality and work. Swamiji, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm highly indebted to the head of this faculty or the department and all the professors, the lecturers who are part of this scheme. And I particularly like to welcome the youngsters because the youths are they are the leaders of the future. And so when even in spirituality, the youths are not relegated to the background. If the advantage is taken by these young people, we can be reassured of a varied society that will be sustained on ethics and values. So, without wasting much of the time, let's get into the subject matter. Balancing spirituality and work. Now, as a management scientist, when we have to give a presentation, The question that comes is, what is the problem you're trying to solve here? Are you just trying to be a paratologist? You have envisioned some solution to a particular problem, and that is encapsulating the world. That the world is embroiled. Yes, and that problem is spiritual bankruptcy. Spiritual bankruptcy implies that people are going about doing their different activities, workforce, academia, students. People are engaged in different activities in the workforce. Now, the beauty of the Vedic literature is that the author of the Vedic literature, Bhakti Vasudeva, he categorically mentioned in one of his books, the Upanishad, that we need to cultivate professional development or educational values along with spirituality. If we don't have this balance in our lives, we can be rest assured, we can be guaranteed to meet with a Waterloo, a devastation. And I can give you very many examples. First of all, the 10th director for International Monetary Fund, IMF, that is a very prestigious position globally. The director for International Monetary Fund, that is something that people aspire. Not everyone has that opportunity to be a director for International Monetary Fund. But you know what? Because of spiritual bankruptcy, because of not balancing work and spirituality, the 10th director, he is from France. He met his Waterloo. I'm sorry, but this is the reality. When we engage in professional development, we acquire the power, we got the money, we have the resources, and our life is devoid of spiritual practice, we are not sure of a sustainable future. So, Strauss-Kahn is the name of that 10th director for International Monetary Fund, who not only got sacked from his job because of spiritual bankruptcy, but he went to prison. Strauss-Kahn went to America, went to New York. We're giving some background about the need for balancing our professional development and spirituality, and the dangers of living a life of professionalism devoid of a spiritual culture. So Strauss-Kahn went to New York, and at the time, one of his daughters was schooling in one of the Ivy Leagues in America, right there in New York area. Ivy Leagues, these are the most prestigious universities in America. One of Strauss-Kahn's daughters at the time was in one of those schools in New York. Strauss-Kahn was lodging in a hotel. He had a beautiful wife in France, superlatively beautiful wife. The wife is also an economist. He went to one of the best economic schools in France. But you know what? Strauss-Kahn went to prison. For what? Because of spiritual bankruptcy. He was indicted in the hotel. He got attracted to a maid that the beauty of that maid is not even 1/10 of the wife's beauty. But you know what? Lust has no bearing, has nothing to do with authenticity. He just get attracted. And he was apprehended. He was charged for attempting rape. That's what America is looking for. In America, no one is above the law. Even our president, he's a fellow. And that is also because of spiritual bankruptcy. We'll get into that later. But just to give us some idea about the danger of living a life without a culture of spirituality. Whether you're a student, whether you are a professional, we need to do that. To cut matters short, with the case of Strauss-Kahn, they threw him in jail. He lost his job. That was the end of it. Now, there's so many other cases where people who lack spirituality lost their jobs. I can give you, there are so many young ladies here, so I'll give you an example of a lady too. There was this young lady, very beautiful lady. She was a teacher, teacher in the secondary school, and her husband was the principal of that school. In America, if you are in a position of power and you got attracted to someone under your care for sex or romantic life, and that person is below 18 years old, you will be charged for rape. There's a specific legal terminology they use for that. Statutory rape. You may have, the sex might be consensual, but no, you're going in for it. So this lady, she has, one of our students was 17 years old and really tall. In America, all these young boys, young girls, they could be really big. So she got attracted to this boy and they started texting. She was married. Her husband was the principal of that school. Talking about why we need a spiritual background so that we can resist the temptations of life. So they were texting, and then she realized, hey, wait a minute. If I get caught, I will go to jail. And so one would have realized, one would have thought that, oh, she's apprehensive of what could happen. She's withdrawing. But no, she did not withdraw. In the Vedic literature, specifically the Bhagavatam, the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's mentioned, Pashyana Pina Pashyati, even after hearing, even after seeing how someone else has suffered. No. Our senses drive us crazy. So this lady, one would have thought she would have stopped there because she realized the dangers. But no, she didn't stop there. She took him out anyway. Had an affair with him. The boy came back, went to the class, and was boasting all over the place to the girls, to his classmates. How he had an affair with the teacher. And the girls were infuriated. They got angry because the guy was a very attractive young man. They thought, this guy should be for us. The teacher, older teacher. So they reported the matter up. That's how our teacher was arrested. She lost her husband. She went to jail. She lost her job. So the question is, what's the role of spirituality here in preventing people from getting into trouble? Now, according to the general theory of crime, we're talking about criminology. This theory was propounded by two criminologists, Gottfriedson and Hitchie, in 1990. And the general theory of crime stipulates that all crimes and antisocial behavior, like illicit relationships, are due to low self-control. In other words, people are not able to control their senses. People are not able to control their mind. This is the core, this is the pivot of all crimes and antisocial behavior. The world has no solution to this. It is only spirituality that has a solution to it. You know what? Sometimes we get into trouble without understanding even how and why we get into that trouble. And sometimes we even know this is not good. What I'm pursuing is not good. It's going to land me into trouble. Yet we pursue it. This is due to uncontrolled senses, uncontrolled mind. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna mentions that the uncontrolled mind is our worst enemy. We think we have an enemy, or we have enemies. The worst enemy is the uncontrolled mind. It means that the worst enemy is living in us. The mind is not outside there. So we have a problem. We have a problem. The problem is that our worst enemy is living right in us. The uncontrolled mind. So the young people, I wish I could hear this type of philosophy when I was young. What's your age? Huh? I wish I hear this type of philosophy when I was 17. When I was 17, the philosophy we hear was from celebrities like Bob Marley, like Jimmy Cliff. I remember one of Jimmy Cliff's debut was completely opposite of what Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita. Jimmy Cliff debuted an album. You can Google that up later. It's titled Follow My Mind. And in the lyrics, Jimmy Cliff was saying, if I follow my mind, I will never go wrong. So when we hear that lyric play at 17 years old, whatever we are doing, we'll drop it. We will go to that very spot. Because we thought, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, you just follow your mind, boy. People follow their mind, follow the dictates of their mind, and they go to jail. This is a good reason for us to practice spirituality along with our professional development, along with our educational pursuits. And sometimes the students, even the young professionals, see, I've been hanging out on the planet, especially in the spiritual culture, for 40 years. And I've encountered so many people. Sometimes you meet people, you try to encourage them, give them a delineation, give them ideas about the problems in the world and how spirituality, your spiritual cultivation can help you to overcome or to prevent you from getting into any type of these troubles. And the usual response is, Dr. Das. My professional name is Dr. Das, Dr. Vasudeva Das. They say, oh, Dr. Das, I'm so busy with studies, I don't have the time for spirituality. But when we analyze how they use the 24 hours, we find that they are time abusers. And just because they don't get a call, no one calls the cops for you for being a time abuser, you think it's right. But then you suffer some consequences. I know of a number of young girls who drop out from college because of pregnancy. I know people who fail out from college because of addiction to internet and the smartphone. These are just typical examples of inability to control the mind and the senses. We work so hard on this planet to fight against slavery. But here we are. We are all slaves to the mind and the senses. And no one is saying anything about that. We feel we're fine. We are not fine. Therefore, if you want to understand the need to be able to have a sustainable growth, there is every reason for us to practice spirituality. Now, for professionals, let's get these points clearly. As a management scientist, we don't just speak philosophy. We talk about science. Scientifically, what is the benefit? What are the scientific proofs of the benefits of spirituality to professionals, to students? Now, let me delineate. Let me just give you some few examples. When someone is studying, this is a common dilemma in academia. Those who are studying, especially going to graduate school and all this stuff, you have a common dilemma, and that is stress, academic distress. Are you familiar with that word here? Academic distress. It's stress that comes about because of academic involvement. And sometimes people think going to school is juicy. No, it's not juicy. Going to school is full of suffering. Oh yeah. You are in anxiety all through, especially when exams are coming. Who said going to school is like licking a honey? No. I remember I went to South America. I went to one of our temples in Buenos Aires, in Argentina. And then my friend who invited me to come, he said I should have a session with devotee professionals. So there are some of these devotees who are professionals. They came, and I was having a chat with them. So I was encouraging them that, for those of you who have a first degree, you have a high GPA, try to think about going for a master's. And those of you who have a master's degree, you have a high GPA that is going to give it eligibility to go for a PhD, you should go for a PhD. And one of the ladies in the session, she didn't know that I'm not another Swami. She didn't know my academic background. So she asked a question that, Swami, you're asking us to go for higher degrees. What about you? So I said, oh, that's a nice question. I said, I have a PhD in applied management and decision sciences with a focus on leadership and organizational change from Walden University in Minneapolis, in the United States. She said, whoo! So, the bottom line is that we're not just here to encourage you to do spirituality. Understand why you need spirituality for sustainable professional development, for sustainable academic excellence. Now, one of the problems that we have in academia is that students are very susceptible to mental health challenges, stress, anxiety, depression, sometimes insomnia. But you know what? The good news is that spirituality has been proven beyond reasonable doubt scientifically that it helps in addressing all of these mental health challenges. And you could Google on the web. For instance, the popular mantra that the Hare Krishna people chant on the streets and everywhere is called the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. You could Google that on the web. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and stress. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and depression. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and whatever you think about. Insomnia. There are scientific data and the research that have been conducted are quantitative research methodologies. In quantitative research, the results are generalizable. So it's not that I believe and you don't believe. No, it's science. Science is not based on belief system. Yes, you may have a belief system, but the belief will have to be substantiated by scientific data. So, this spiritual culture, spiritual involvement, spiritual practices, they help you like anything. If you're a student, they help you to excel beyond your expectations. I tell you one thing, besides what I've just mentioned to you, I can give you my own lived experience. I remember when I was doing my PhD in management science, we had a course, statistics is pure statistics. PhD level statistics. And that course is titled Quantitative Reasoning and Analysis. We are 10 PhD students in the whole faculty of management who were doing that course, or who did that course, because it was compulsory before you go to do your dissertation research. We are 10 PhD students who did that course. And you know what? All the students failed. I was the only person who passed that course. And I got 90 plus. In America, in the PhD level, you got 90 plus, it's like you're a hero. And so the professor who was teaching that course, or who taught that course, he's a white professor. He taught, what? You're a black dude? Some of the people think that the black dudes, they don't know anything. So he was overtaken with by surprise. And then the point is that because I've been involved in spiritual cultivation, the senses have become highly spiritualized, highly refined. And so you become like a fruity data. You hear one thing once, and c'est fini. Do you want to excel in your spirit in your college degree programs? I conducted a research some years ago with undergraduate students. We did the test. We checked the grades of the students who were participating in that research. Prior to their involvement or to their practice of spirituality, what grades they had. And during the period they were practicing spirituality, compared to the period they were not practicing, their grades were far higher. So experiments have been conducted. This is not a theological exposition. We're not trying to proselytize you to give up your sense gratification and pursue spiritual life. We're saying, do both. And you stand a good chance to be better off in your academic development. Even insomnia, where you can't sleep, it has been proven by scientific data that if you practice spirituality, you will overcome the insomnia. Again, you can Google that up. Go to Google Scholar. Everything that I say here, you can verify it. Go to Google Scholar, insomnia, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You will see the result. Scientific data. And so, we like to encourage all of you to consider getting yourself involved into some form of spiritual practice, because you will stand to benefit from it. By nature, we are spiritual beings. And if we don't cultivate that spirituality, our lives, there is a gap in our lives. In research, you want to conduct any research, normally what we do is that you have to figure out a gap in the literature. Then you're trying to fill the gap. there is a gap in our life. I mean, there's a problem in our lives. If we don't cultivate spiritual lives, the senses, they go haywire. And because of this lack of spirituality, even the president of the United States, he became a fellow. Imagine the most powerful country in this world. President was indicted, found guilty on 34 felony counts. If it is you and I, he would have been in jail. So who says spirituality is not helpful? So I'm giving you graphic examples. It's up to you. Lord Krishna told Arjuna, I have told you everything that you need to know. Process it. Decide. Decide what you want to do. So we have shared some tips, just like a tip of the iceberg with you about the benefits of spirituality. Academically, professionally. It's up to you to make a decision. Maybe there are some comments or some questions. Thank you very much for coming to participate in this program.
Thank you, Swamiji, for your insightful and inspiring words. Indeed, your message today has not only uplifted us, but has instilled a renewed sense of purpose by reminding us how Lord Krishna in the Gita teaches and advises us on sthit prajna, that is a balanced mind, of self-control, of detachment. And also you have referred to many case studies about physical beauty is nothing. We just have to focus about detaching us. We keep doing our duty, our work, but with a detachment, and as well as engage in the spiritual work. So, dear friends, we shall now open the floor for Q&A session, roughly about 10 minutes. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask Swamiji. Can we have the mic, please, Lakshmi? We have many staff here who are also in the administrative. Swamiji, who is always busy, 6, 5 on 7, working from 9 to 4. Perhaps they would like to have some tips from you how to be able to manage and bring balance between work and the spiritual work into spirituality as well. And also I'd like to add that Swamiji here we have a staff who are also members who have also joined and dedicated most of their time even to Lord Krishna and members of the ISKCON as well and other associations.
Thank you.
Any questions, please? Yes, we have one question from Dr. Vedika, the head of the Department of Philosophy.
Hare Krishna Swamiji. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to you for this wonderful and jovial presentation. We equally enjoyed it. You have been mentioning, emphasizing every time about spiritual practices. I would urge you to break down a little bit about what are the actionable spiritual practices for our young students.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Doctor. And for the purpose of general elucidation or general explanation, spirituality has a lot to do with the individual figuring out the time to do something to feed their soul. It's like when you have a very nice parrot, you purchase a very nice parrot, and you put the parrot in the cage because you don't want the parrot to fly away. You love it. And so you feed the parrot, but you not only, you don't express appreciation or a sense of love for the parrot just by cleaning the cage. You also feed the parrot. So similarly, we are spiritual entities. See, this body is composed of 5 gross elements, 3 subtle elements. And within the 3 subtle elements or the subtle body is the spirit proper. So, spirituality entails feeding the soul too. We take care of this body. We dress ourselves nicely before we go to work. We're not saying, look, you're a spirit soul, don't take care of the body. No. Take care of the body. Take care of the soul too. In other words, polish the cage nicely and also feed the parrot. And in the Kali Yuga, in the present age, where life is so short, we get disturbed by the least provocation. Some people are not even able to tame their senses, when even they get a little agitation from their own child. Little agitation, they just go haywire. Because we the parents, we think we are right, we are always right. But no, we're not always right. So, spirituality begins with understanding who we are. What is the purpose of our life? What is the ultimate purpose of our life? And in this age of Kali, the prescribed method for spiritual awareness, for spiritual evolution, is to call on God's name. You may call him Allah, Jehovah, Yahweh. We call him Krishna. And in the Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna mentions that of sacrifices, he is japa. So what does japa mean? Japa means calling on the names of God without disturbing your neighbors, just to yourself. There's another aspect of calling on the names of God. That is Sankirtan. Congregationally, people come together and they call on the names of God. Now, what we are emphasizing is that individual aspect, because all of us, we need to eat to be able to go on doing our jobs in the office nicely. And the japa is the staple food. See, I do my own japa every day. Sometimes I go to places and young people, when they come to my lectures, then they come to me after the talk. Hey, Swamiji, but how are you doing it? Because we're trying to study undergraduate studies and to chant 16 rounds of mala. It's just a difficult thing. And you travel all over the place, and you are doing your japa, you are researching, you are publishing, you're going to conferences, presentation. How do you do it? My normal response is effective time management. In fact, that is the pivot of balancing work and spirituality. People complain, I don't have the time. When you go down to ask them to evaluate, analyze how they use their time, they are not able to account for so much chunk of time they wasted. So, back to your point. To dissect that very concept, spirituality in this age requires that we chant on God's name. And we do that in the Hare Krishna organization. I chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I do this every day. I've been doing this for the past 41 years. And so someone could say, you're doing it because you don't have anything to do with your life. I have something to do with my life. I'm a doctor of management science. I have over 35 publications in peer-reviewed journals. In fact, on June 28th, I was just given an award in London at the World Academy of Science, Engineering and Technology. I made a presentation. Listen, I conducted the research on this very Hare Krishna mantra. I'm proved beyond reasonable doubt that this Hare Krishna mantra, the chanting of this Hare Krishna mantra helps to prevent financial fraud. That presentation was given an award by the World Academy of Science, Engineering and Technology in London on June 28, 2021. who says spirituality is meant for lazy people. You need to be smart, become spiritual too, so that you don't get into trouble. So that when you become the prime minister of this country, you can lead people in the right direction. You don't become like my president. Thank you. Someone is open there.
Thank you very much for this enriching lecture, Swamiji. Well, Krishna says to Arjun, Yogaskha Guru Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya. Abandon attachment and do your work in a spirit of yoga, that is steadfast. Okay? So, my question is, how are we going to implement this divine lesson in this material world?
Thank you. That's a nice question. Here I am doing the integration. So I'm just a good example for you, because we're not talking about Puranic stories 5,000 years ago or 500 years ago. I am right here with you. I am doing the implementation. I wake up every day to do my sadhana. I'm a research fellow. Look, I have 5, there are professors here. Can you imagine this? I have 5 research presentations at Oxford in one conference on 27th of March to 29th of March. 5 research presentations in one conference. This is implementation. Being able to do the needful without becoming attached. Being able to do the needful with proper integration. Let me share one thing. Those who study calculus, they know calculus is a wire. It's a no-go area. Calculus is difficult. And the very foundation of calculus is integration. Integration is difficult. And that is why people find difficulty in balancing work and spirituality. Balancing academics and spirituality. Because integration is difficult. But you have to see who is fundamentally doing the integration and where is your status. So I'm here. I'll give you an example of myself. not for being puffed up. But then, because if you tell stories in the Purana, they say, oh, there's thousands of years ago. What about now? What about now? Show me who is doing this now. Boy, I am doing it right here. And I'm here. It's not like a dream. I had my first 25 publications in peer-reviewed journals in 3 years. Without having a master's degree. In 3 years. I remember going to meet one professor to give me a chance to speak to his final year students in the Department of Philosophy in the Federal University. And because I dressed the traditional brahmachari dress, when I went there, the professor was agitated, and he just looked at me like this. 3 times. And he told me, we don't do this here. Then I retorted. I said, excuse me, sir, but I have 25 publications in peer-reviewed journals in 3 years. Oh, he was taken aback. He became very polite. Sir, can I see some of those publications? So the next day I came there. I came with 3 publications from from an Ivy League. And immediately the conversation took a 360 degrees U-turn. Then he asked me, he perused through those papers. Then he asked me, sir, so when are you coming to make your presentation? The person who slighted me, then I was saying, come on, get out from this place. We became friends till today. To implement is not a difficulty. Manage your time effectively. That is the watchword for implementation. If you don't manage your time effectively, and see, to manage your time is very difficult. Why? There are so many distractions now. The smartphone, the internet. We can do it. Be courageous. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. So, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, as we have come towards the end of today's session, on behalf of the School of Theological Studies, the Department of Philosophy, we express our deepest gratitude to all those who have contributed to the success of today's session. We extend our sincere appreciation to the management for their unwavering support. Dr. Punja, Director MGI, and Acting Registrar Mrs. Vivu Abadu. A special thanks goes to Mr. Jonathan Sami, Chief Librarian Archives, Mr. Anjatan and his team for their invaluable logistics support provided to us this morning. We are deeply grateful to the head of the School of Theological Studies, Dr. Kamal Devi, Associate Professor Dr. Vedika Adeyarchukwu, head of the Department of Philosophy, Mr. Oshan Islam from the Department of Philosophy lecturer. We have other heads of the other schools. We have Dr. Cha from the Hindi department. We have as well Dr. Alka from the Department of Hindi. We have Mrs. Nishita Simon as head of the Department of Marathi. We have other colleagues also and students also firstly from the Department of Hindi. So on behalf of the department, I thank Mr. Gulshan Suklaji to send the students despite their ongoing classes here. And a warm thanks to all the associate professors, senior academics, and head of schools, our ICCR chair for Hindi Studies, Professor Rajshekhar, administrative staff who has taken their precious time during this, I will not say hectic anymore, hectic hour, and our beloved students, young students from the MGI Secondary School, as well as their accompanied educator. A special note of appreciation to Mrs. Gulaki and her team, Ms. Lakshmi, Ms. Santan, Ms. Jaya from the School of Theological Studies for their tireless effort in making this event a success. Lastly, we extend our gratitude to Prabhu Dayanandji and his son, who is all the way here from La Réunion, ISKCON, and Mr. Ranjeev Sipati and Sakhi Vrindadevi Dasiji from ISKCON for extending this invitation to MGI and to consider our esteemed institution as a platform for such meaningful engagement. Swamiji, MGI, with its deep commitment for academic excellence, cultural preservation, and the promotion of spiritual values, is proud to serve as the right place for fostering understanding, respect, and appreciation of our rich cultural heritage and timeless wisdom here. So we are truly honored to have hosted such an enriching session today with you. So ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, dear youngsters here, I now invite you to join us to have the prasadam that is offered from His Holiness Swamiji and his son as a token of divine grace. Please proceed to the lobby to partake in this sacred offering. Once again, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.